And sometimes, you know, the dredge players or the reanimator players are able to take advantage of that.
And the last player that we have in attendance, and he's probably going to be mad that I brought him up last, so hopefully he doesn't watch the re-recording of this. Brian Kibler, scarf and all. It's not cold outside.
It's actually fairly warm.
And it's not cold in here, so he's just making a fashion statement, as only he can. Playing the Black-Green Predator Ooze deck. Something that he brought to the table when we were at Star City Games Invitational in Los Angeles back in December. Not a lot has changed here, as you're going to see 4 copies of Arbor Elf, 4 copies of Lotless Troll, Strangerroot Geist, Dreadmangler, Predator Ooze, Wolfear Avenger, the Uvenwald Tracker. Then he's got 2 copies of Garruk Relentless, 4 copies of Abrupt Decay, 4 Rancors, and 2 Tragic Slips to go along with some lands.
If you want a better idea of what's in Kibler's deck, read any article he's written in the past 3 months, and you will find out what his deck list is.
Very, very traditional. And on the right-hand side, Jason Bulkowski, he's a player that has top 8 at 2 Open Series in Legacy. He always plays Dredge in Legacy, but we see him today here in Standard playing Mono Red.
And he's playing the Cyto Mono Red splashing green deck with Stormcroak Noble, Cackler, Burning Tree Emissary, Flintooth War, Ash Zealot, Lightning Mauler. The funny thing about this matchup is I was talking to Kibler before the tournament, and I said, well, why didn't you play Green Black Ooze at the Pro Tour? He's like, oh, well, I was losing a lot to the red decks that had Rancor. So, fortunate for him, he's playing exactly that deck in round 2 of this tournament. So we'll see if that holds true for him, or if he's able to finally defeat these mono red decks.
And this mono red deck that Jason is playing is the 18 land version. That's been pretty popular now. You know, I'm no Hell Riders here, I'm going to assume.
No, right? he's cut the Hell Riders. He has Boros Reckoner topping out at 3. He's got 3 Volcanic Strength as well.
Okay.
And only 3 Rancors. So he upped the number of Pillar Flames, and he's got Searing Spears. So typical, although strange, he's got no 1-drop. And Kibler has the Mighty Predator Ooze.
Predator Ooze, a card that we'll bring up on the screen here for you guys. This is like almost the poster child of Brian Kibler now. You know, before it was Rith the Awakener, but he's kind of downgraded a little bit here.
So Kibler has his dream start, if you call this a dream. If you're not very imaginative, it's the turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 Predator Ooze. The sequence of plays that Kibler has been dreaming of for the past 4 months. I'm not quite sure how good this is in this matchup. You know, I'm sure it's a great blocker, and along with Strangerroot Geist, it's a pretty solid attacker as well.
And now we do see 2 Strangerroot Geist coming across along with the Predator Ooze. Predator Ooze going to tick up, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and Jason immediately under the gun here. Now he does have, of course, a 3/3 Flintooth Boar, so it can block and not die, but how good is that really?
Yeah, Kibler's still just gonna get one of his Geists back. I mean, he clearly has to block here, but the question is, does he just block? Or maybe he wants to take it and try to put a Volcanic Strength on the Flintooth Boar and try to get there. No, decides to block.
I would be hard-pressed there to just take all 6 of that damage, move along when you're literally being given. I mean, if anything, he's going to block the Predator Ooze, you know, and just prevent that 2 damage. Now, does he want to block the Strangerroot Geist instead of the Predator Ooze? You know, who knows? He decides that's what he wants to do, and so now we'll see exactly what his strategy is going to be moving forward. As you do see, he plays a mountain this turn.
For those of you new to Magic, that white-bordered land is, in fact, a mountain.
Yeah.
You're probably not familiar with those if you were born after the year 1992. But again, he's got Boros Reckoner, which is a card you're probably going to need to stop this type of draw, but I'm not sure if he has, without a 1-drop and being on the draw, Kibler might actually just have the exact type of thing. And he has the Abrupt Decay for the Reckoner too, so again, this probably isn't a great matchup for Kibler, but he's got the exact start he needs.
Yeah, I mean, this game it's looking just fine.
Yeah, I mean, being on the play and your opponent not having a 1-drop and you have a 1-drop, that's huge.
Yeah.
So he's just taking too much damage right here.
You know, one of the things about the red decks in this particular format is I mean, it's a deck that doesn't play defense very well.
No, doesn't play defense well, can't come from behind well. If he had Hell Rider, I would say maybe he has a chance, but deck doesn't even play Hell Rider anymore. He does have, it looks like he might have another Reckoner, which might help. But again, that Predator Ooze is at the point where it might just be big enough to start doing some damage.
going to see an Ash Zealot here from Jason. And you do see a couple copies of Volcanic Strength in his hand. He can make one of the guys bigger. You also see a Searing Spear, and he's just going to pass back and threaten a Searing Spear here on one of Kibler's guys. But, you know, oddly enough, one of the things that's going to be a problem here, and you do see Predators just coming across, that's going to be the actual problem. It's just going to keep getting bigger, and there's nothing that can be done about it from a red deck.
Yeah, that's the thing. Kibler did enough damage early with the Geist to bring Jason's life total low enough where Predator Ooze is just going to finish things off.
And now you're going to see a post-combat Lotless Troll here from Brian. He is just going to pass the turn back. And Jason has a Searing Spear at the ready, trying to figure out what he's going to pull the trigger on, and he's just going to take care of one of those Stranger Root guys, which I'm sure Kibler doesn't mind all that much. He's just to pass the turn back. Jason draws a Burning Tree Emissary, one of the hot new cards from Gatecrash that I had not identified personally as being that great of a card, and I'm willing to admit I was very wrong.
Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see if Jason's actually going to be able to win this game with the Reckoner, eventually blocking a really large Predator Ooze and you redirecting damage back.
Yeah.
You know, Runner, Reckoner might do it.
Sure, I mean, there are definitely possibilities here.
There's a chance, but it's tough, you know?
As we're going to see Ooze the Boss. Kibler comes across with Predator Ooze, gets +1/+1 from attacking, kills a guy, gets +1/+1 again. And again, as you brought up, Reckoner is going to have to do something here.
I think Jason has to attack. Jason has to attack with one of those creatures. He can't sit back.
It's very difficult to attack here just because of Lotless Troll. And, you know, he can just block and regenerate. So
yeah, but he's got a 4/4 First Striker. Yeah, I guess there's really not much. I probably should have held on to the Searing Spear and try to burn Kibler out, because I'm not sure what his plan is right now. That Predator is basically must be blocked every turn now.
He is in the quote-unquote abyss, as it were. You see Brian going through the motions here, deciding what he wants to do, and you know he's been pretty happy with just attacking with Predators every turn. And you see him just going to do that again here.
I think Kibler starts to realize, double Reckoner might actually lose me this game.
Yeah.
But again, you know, if Jason had the Searing Spear in his hand, it would have been so much better. So does he redirect 7 damage back to Kibler, or?
Yeah, there's probably going to be some number of damage redirections. We do see a Stromkirk Noble here. Now, you know, the thing for Jason here is that he does have chump blockers for days. You know,
yeah, but he still needs another Reckoner, and he already drew 2.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it definitely doesn't revolve around more Reckoners.
And Kibler needs to draw no removal spells whatsoever.
Yes.
So, again, Jason has outs, but, you know, and the fact that Kibler just keeps drawing land is certainly helping his cause, but he's going to need a Reckoner in the next 2 draw steps here.
Jason takes a draw step. That is a basic mountain. And as far as removal is concerned here for Brian, just so that you guys do know at home, he does have 4 copies of Abrupt Decay. 1 has already been used. Does have 2 copies of Garrick Relentless for the fight ability. Does have 3 Woundwall Trackers, which is a slow removal spell, but nonetheless it does count. 2 Tragic Slips as well, and don't forget about those 4 Rancors that he can draw to as well to just end this game on the spot by putting it on Predators.
And, okay, so he decides to attack with everything, which is the correct play, because now even a top that Reckoner won't do it.
Yep. You see everybody getting in here. You see a Tragic Slip. That's going to bite the dust. And Rakdos Cackler is not going to do it, believe it or not. So Brian Kibler is going to be up a game here with his green-black Ooze deck. A matchup that's probably not that great for him, as you mentioned, you know, him being under the gun, but if he's able to get a turn 2 Predatory Ooze out and start the beatdowns, then it's actually very, very hard for Jason to win.
And I think that match also showed you how good Boris Reckoner is, because despite that start from Kibler, had Jason drawn, you know, a 3rd Reckoner, he probably wins that game.
Yeah.
So pretty remarkable just how powerful that card is.
Yeah, it's a pretty good Magic card.
Yeah.
I would say, overall. One of the better Magic cards they've printed recently. Taking a look at Jason's sideboard, I know you do have it in front of him. I think, you know, step 1 is obviously going to be on the play and have an aggressive start, which he's going to have the opportunity to do this go-around. But what can he bring in to help him?
Yeah, I think Volcanic Strength is definitely coming out. He's got Domery Raid, which I'm not sure you want, considering Kibler has his own. He wants his creatures to fight.
Yep.
He's got Owenville Tracker. I'm not sure you want to bring in a card that just basically fights.
Sure.
He has Mizium Mortars, which I could see coming in. Gorklan Rampager, seems interesting. Skullcrack, Blasphemous Act, Hellrider, though. I don't think Skullcrack's coming in. Maybe Hellrider, maybe Mizium Mortars, maybe Rampager. But I'm not sure what he wants to cut here. It basically comes down to, like, Volcanic Strength. Maybe Pillar, because I don't think Pillar it kills Strangleroot Geist, but a lot of the ways that Kibler is going to beat you is with Wolves, either Avenger or maybe Silverheart off the board if he has it. Which I'm not sure, but...
No, it doesn't have Silver Hearts this tournament.
Probably, I would see just boarding out probably Volcanic Strength for maybe a Mizium Mortar, a Rampager, and maybe a Hellrider. Okay. Try to go big.
Taking a look over here at Brian's sideboard, you're not going to find any Wolf or Silver Hearts this weekend. This particular matchup, things that are useful is the 4th Moving Wall Tracker I could see him bringing in, additional Tragic Slip as well. He does have 2 copies of Deathrite Shaman, 2 copies of Sever the Bloodline, which are a little bit slow, but this is a matchup where you can actually 2-for-1 your opponent with it, depending on the draw. Also, it being able to take care of Boros Reckoner is pretty huge.
Yeah, I think he just wants ways to kill Boros Reckoner.
And besides that, he has 4 copies of Duress, which I don't find to be particularly great in this matchup. 2 copies of Triumph Ferocity, 2 copies of Appetite for Brains, and then a Tormod's Crypt. And going back to that graveyard discussion that we had a little bit earlier, you find 2 copies of Deathrite Shaman and 1 Tormod's Crypt to be able to fight, to be able to hate against the Human Reanimator deck. So again, you find another deck here that doesn't really have a ton of hate for that kind of strategy. But unsurprising. Unsurprising,
yeah. And again, with Jason on the draw and the play here, he's certainly going to be in a better position. Although I wonder why he kept his opening hand in the first game. Because in my experience with this Cyto deck, you really have to mulligan aggressively in order to have a chance in certain matchups. You don't know what Kibler's playing, so you're not sure if the Volcanic Strength's good, which it clearly ended up not being good. You don't have any 1-drop, and again, without a 1-drop, it's so hard for that deck to sort of gain any traction, especially when you're on the draw. So, wonder if maybe Jason should have mulliganed a little more aggressively in game 1. But again, he's on the play this time, so we'll see if he can turn it around.
It's kind of funny to call a hand slow, where his turn 2 play, traditionally, him being on the draw there, he had an Ash Elf for turn 2, and he had a Flint Hoof Boar, and he's on the draw, and to say like, I have a turn 2 3/3 or a turn 2 2/2 with haste that can attack is slow, but it is.
It is, yeah.
In this format, it is slow.
What happens if your opponent just has a Boros Reckoner? That sequence doesn't really matter that much.
That's a wrap. Yeah. If they have a Boros Reckoner, it's over.
Again, I mean, he has the Volcanic Strength, so maybe he was thinking, okay, well, I can still attack through it if he's got a mountain. I have outs, but again, without a 1-drop, the Cyto deck is a lot slower. And again, without Hellrider, you don't really have a good mid-range late game.
Yep. So do you see both players laying out their hands here? Looks like you can't tell if Jason's attempted to take a mulligan yet or not, but
well, he's got a 1-drop, it looks like, and he's got a mountain.
Those mountains stick out like a sore thumb.
Those ugly white bordered mountains. So it looks like we have a keep on both sides.
They are just disgusting. As we do see a strong Kirk Noble here from Jason. We are underway here in game 2 of round 2 between Jason Bulkowski and Brian Kibler. Brian is going to come back with an Arbor Elf. You see Boros Reckoner, the draw step here for Jason. Here comes the Noble. See if Brian's going to offer up the trade. As also taking a look at Jason's hand here, and this isn't really much of a surprise.
I would.
When they're playing an 18-land deck, he's only got 1 land.
Yeah. Interesting here. Kibler has a chance to trade, but chooses not to. And I wonder now if Jason's going to pillar it. Oh, wow. So Jason chooses not to pillar, which is interesting because by Kibler not blocking there, it basically signals that he really wants that Arbor Elf to do something great on turn 2. But decides not to. So now he has pillar. So you see. So now at least he can. Maybe I hope he remembers that it doesn't matter. He has the pillar, so he can still kill it. But ends up 2-for-1ing himself.
Well, what you're going to see here is you see Jason attack in. Brian's going to block with a Lot-Less Troll, and now you're going to see Pillar Flame here. But again, Brian can just discard cards to make this big enough that it doesn't matter. That's the thing. And that's exactly what he does. And now Jason's facing out a 4/3 Lot-Less Troll, and that's too big for the red deck to deal with. And so now you see Brian being on the aggressive here, sending in with the 4/3 Lot-Less Troll. And you know, this overall, as you're going to see Garrick Relentless take care of the Rakdos Cackler, it's going to flip to Garrick the Veil Cursed. And now Jason is, you know, I don't want to pronounce a game over before it's over, but I mean, there's almost no coming back now.
Why didn't Kibler play this deck at the Pro Tour? This deck looks amazing.
Yeah, and now you see Ash Zealot's going to take care of the Garrick Relentless, but the damage has already been done there.
Yeah.
And again, you know, part of the problem for the mono red deck, again, it doesn't play defense very well, but a threat like Lot-Less Troll, a 4/3 Regenerator, is something that this deck cannot deal with.
Yeah.
There is no card to do anything. As you're going to see a Predator Ooze and an Uvenwall Tracker come to play for Brian in the second main phase.
Yeah, Kibler is just going to keep flooding the board. He doesn't care what Jason does at this point. Worst card Jason could have is a Searing Spear, but Kibler might even have another creature to discard anyway. So, really good shape for Kibler. Again, great start. Not sure there's much Jason could have done this game. He could have chose to Pillar the Arbor Elf, but again, Kibler had this turn 2 Lot-Less Troll, and he had plenty of creatures anyway. So, Kibler's pretty much in the driver's seat.
Ash Zealots are going to come across here.
Oh, wow.
You're going to see Sever the Bloodline from Brian. Going to take care of both the Ash Zealots. He's going to come across. Predator is going to get a counter. We're going to see attack here for 4, 5, 6, 7.
Everything's coming up Kibler today with this draw.
Are we sure that's not John Finkel's scarf that he's wearing there?
It might be. He might have purchased it online on the website that Tom Martell set up.
Yeah, I hope he washed it.
Yeah, Tom was sweating pretty badly at the project. So, yeah, there's the concession. So, you know, despite Kibler's apprehension about this matchup, looked pretty good in 2 games.
It didn't feel bad to me from those 2 games. I don't know what the testing showed with SS Channel Fireballs, I call it, their personal submarine that they test in. But, I mean, it looked pretty good there.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was so much Kibler's deck just getting amazing draws or Jason's deck just giving him nothing. I mean, again,